Hi everyone, and welcome to my review, the album review for Scarlxrd's project was EP Fantasy Void Intro, which seems to be part of a chopped up series of EPs which will probably end up just being the Fantasy Void project re-released as a whole thing at the end. I imagine that's the economic move of releasing albums in this fashion. I digress. My name is Holden Stephan Roy. This is the Headspace Podcast, the show where we break down new hip-hop projects track by track, giving thoughts and opinions on every single song. And in this case, we will be talking about Scarlxrd's Fantasy Void Intro. So why am I doing this project? Oh, before that, self-promo time. I make music myself. You can check that out on this channel. Drop the track May 13th music videos up on the channel. Let me know what you think about it. If you dig it, you can follow me on Spotify. Show some love like that. Got a new track coming out at the end of June. You can check that out too for DistroKid, pre-follow, all that good stuff. You'd be awesome. Thanks. And if you like this format and you think what we do over here is cool with these deep dive album reviews, you can check out the Patreon where for $1 or more a month you can support what we do. Okay, self-promo time over. Moving back into the review. So the reason I am talking about Scarlxrd's Fantasy Void Intro today, and I do like to start off all the reviews describing a little bit why I'm talking about it, is because, well, out of curiosity, I did Fantasy Void Autumn, right? And in that review, I said, if y'all want to see me do more of this, see me do the other ones, let me know in some way and hit that like button. So if you want to see me do more Scarlxrd, hit that like button, because relative to the ratio of views I got, which was actually the best performing episode I've had in a month in terms of the timeout, it's 250 views with 19 likes. So that tells me that nearly 1 in 11 people dug it. That's real encouraging. So I said, you know what, in light of the amount of time it's going to take to make these videos, I'll do the intro, I'll do the spring, and I'll cover the rest of this project as it comes. And again, if you're interested in this, you can let me know through the democratic power of having this episode outperform my other episodes. You Scarlxrd fans, and I'm happy to go through more of his music, because the catalog that this man has put out has seriously impressed me. Actually, I let a couple of the other tracks on another project play, and just seeing, I guess, his growth into this album, or getting a little taste into his past, it shows me the guy's like an artist that's going to continue to evolve and just flip up and play with sounds and styles, and I think that's really cool. And it makes me actually want to go through it. So the short version of my last review is, this is an amazing project. The 4 tracks I had talked about, really cool in the mix of the more rock emo styled stuff that I'm 32, just as a preface, which means that when I was 12 it was the year 2000, and Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit were considered the greatest things in music in my opinion. So seeing all this nu metal-esque sound come through hip-hop adds such an amazing thing to me. So understand that this is an extremely biased review, as in Scarlxrd is making sounds I particularly love regardless of their musical merit. So it doesn't matter if you don't like nu metal or whatever. I can understand how to a lot of people maybe some of these sounds aren't the best, but I think he's tapping into something that I love. And I'm glad to see that younger people also love this, and that it could come back, and it could be sounds that we could all play with, blending genre lines and stuff. So I'm just real excited to look at what he's done, over the course of his career, which has been extremely prolific. And I know a lot of people love to give lots of shout outs to old cats who've released 100 albums, but if you look at Scarlxrd, he's on pace to be an old cat that's released a stupidly large number of projects, to a point where I doubt I could actually consume all the music the man is going to release, which A, makes me feel lazy, and B, really impresses me that he's able to produce like that. It's something to aim to be able to put out such an ethic, almost like he creates it and just puts it out to the world, lets you consume, and then just makes the next one. It's a very different way to approach art, I think, than I have done in the past, and it's something that inspires me in a sense. Maybe to a degree I put too much thought sometimes into things, so I think it's really just cool watching people be able to live in such a way where their efficiency is just next level like that. So kudos to Scarlxrd. That dude, considering he's 25, I think I saw last time I talked about him, that's real impressive. I am sincerely impressed that a young person has that level of ethic like that. like, hats off, man. Most of us can't even start to get serious till we're 30, so big respect. On that note, we are here to talk about the album, or the 3 tracks, this little chunk of the album. And I was trying to give you my backstory. So I appreciated the hybrid of the rock songs, and then when we got to the hip hop track, I was still like, cause I felt like it was like there were hip hop tracks where there's some bars, and then there was like the more screamy side where it's more rock stuff. And in the rock vein, I felt it was like real tight. And then in the hip hop stuff, I liked the delivery and everything. I wasn't 1,000% sold on like the bars being super insightful, but again, it's mood music and it's not necessarily about being the most insightful thing. So all things together, I was rounding that off like it's a 4.5 on 5, like straight up. That 4 tracks was there. So let's get into this, and I'm not gonna go that deep into my thoughts in the last project too much. You can check out that video, but I will touch on some of it if you choose not to as I go through this album. So in the meantime, I'm not that full of concern for what you think of me. So I'll be completely honest with you, if the lyrics were not up here, I would still have no fucking idea what the hell he's saying as he screams it out. This is not an attack on the quality of Scarlxrd's enunciation, but I also recognize I'm out of touch with the screaming. And in the same way that a lot of people, when they hear like fast-paced hip-hop, can't understand a damn thing that's being said, but you can't go too fast for me to pick out your words. It's like a skill in listening. I'm just not there with the screaming. So thank goodness, because this album's been out since May 15th, I guess. Wow, it's still pretty recent, eh? I didn't even realize it was that new. The lyrics are up since it's been out a couple weeks, and you Scarlxrd fans are dope enough to make that happen, so give yourselves a round of applause for being dedicated fans that care like that. Anyway, to be fair, when I did do the album review for Autumn, it typically takes a good day before the lyrics come up, so I give it a pass because I did that day of. And so yeah, today it's May 31st, and I don't know, I like the tone of it. I love the beat, man. Just the way it kind of cascades, like it sounds like actual drums. It sounds like this kind of like blend where I just feel like this combination of feeling like I'm vibing to it, but in an emotional state where like I feel angsty, you know. Sometimes I feel a little teenager like, and I get caught up in some of the more petulant emotions in my soul. And I feel like what Scarlxrd is giving me here is music to treat like drugs to cope with some of my more negative emotions. Like it's honestly like it's okay to feel that way is what I feel like Scarlxrd's music is giving me in that sense. And these anxious times, and y'all know what I'm talking about. This has been one of the more anxious weeks for North America. It's just not been a good week. Like, we going out to a rally, we can call it, later on today. Well, it'll be yesterday for when this episode actually comes out. But it's just a weird time. So when I felt like this song, I felt like it really tapped into some of the deeper anxieties that exist inside of my soul right now. Because I don't care what anyone says, us cats in our 30s, we are just as anxious as the young ones. Anyway, I might try for a little bit, try my life for a little bit. Yeah, I might vibe for a little bit, sell my vibe for a little bit. Yeah, I climb these heights for the thrill of it. I don't thrive with a little concern. I give life for the thrill of it. I don't give a fuck about concern. And I like that. I like it because it kind of taps into that simple honesty, right? Like, sometimes in life you want deep poetic analysis and shit, but really what I think he's doing is taking a very complicated emotion, like the battle within your soul, to put effort in, understanding the pain that comes from trying and all that works into that. Like, life is not simple. As you pursue your artistic journeys, it's going to be a painful process. And so you end up, I think, in a very human way, in this middle point where sometimes you try, sometimes you put it out, sometimes you go out there, you really just take risks. You maybe sometimes put it in for the right reasons, and then maybe sometimes you're caught up in a spiral of bad stuff. But at the end of the day, concern might not be your focus. I know that I'm learning about concern now, but for a long time I lived life without concern. So feelings like I don't give a fuck about concern, I mean, that's just the cleverest and most distinct way I've heard somebody say I don't give a fuck in ages, because he's specific, right? So I like that, because most people are kind of ignorant when they go, I don't give a fuck. Like, of course you give a fuck. You literally just said something, so you give a fuck enough to say something. But by targeting concern, well, this song is kind of a emotional, state that doesn't care about concern. He isn't concerned with what you think about him. He isn't concerned as he creates his art. And I really like that because I think in a lot of ways when people say I don't give a fuck, which is in and of itself a factually inaccurate statement, adding those two words about concern actually solves the logical conundrum that traps most people in a fallacy of stupidity. So kudos Scarlxrd for, with two words, effectively changing a statement from foolhardy to quite apt and intelligent. Respect. Anyway, don't hold me back in a distant time. I'm way too unstable to change my mind. I keep intact in my mind. I'm numb to these favors. They've made me blind. I mean, it's pretty blatant. It's like emo teenage emotion anxiety that now like half the population deals with. Like we're stubborn. We're caught up in a world where like that distant timeline. To me, it's like, yo, stop dropping your old timey archaic crap on me. Let's evolve. Let's be in the world of today. And I don't think this is more present than corporate America. I think the youths think they know what the fuck that feels like, but nah, man. I mean, maybe in the music industry, Scarlxrd actually does have a good sense of it. But yo, a lot of y'all, man, if you in middle America office life, what Scarlxrd is describing in this thing, holy shit, it's so real, man. The way Gen X tries to be boomers so bad in the world, it's so weird. Anyway, I love this track. I thought it was a great start to the album. And I'll be honest, hearing Concern and feeling a bit of the story-esque element to the progression, like Escape, we'll talk about it in a bit, but I feel like there's a bit of a follow-up to Concern. Like Concern sets an emotional state, and then Escape follows that up in a way. I feel like having that does make me actually appreciate what I've heard on the last one. So like when you get to Sick of Silence and you've listened to all these other tracks, maybe there's a bit more of a story element of the progression of his emotions than I was aware of. So perhaps as we get to the end of the project, I'll try to do like a summary in the last part of this review series because I'm going to do the album. Just to let you know what I think in that regard. If I forget, you can remind me and I'll answer in the comments, I guess, and pin it or whatever. But yeah, I think there is a little bit of an arc to the progression of emotions. At least I hope that's what it is, because this seems like such a cool concept, right? It feels like it's structured in a way where each of these is a snapshot into an emotional state that hopefully can move ahead. Because here we have this anxiousness, this lostness, right? But where I was at with the other project, it felt like it was more targeted at like love and a woman or a relationship that's failed. Whereas in this regard, it's more of an internal battle of him trying to live his life and stuff. So I actually appreciate the nuance between those two subject matters, and it makes me like the project even more, meaning I gave this a 4.75, and when I threw up my little EP warning that my reviews for an EP don't count, I suppose if I'm going to consistently grade it this high, because I mean I'm probably going to, this may be on the markings for a Holden classic. Can I call it objectively a classic? I don't know, but if I were to go out there and like handpick elements of music to throw together and come up with a sound that like I engineered and I had all the power in the world, a lot of it would be like this. I don't know that I can deliver the screaming sides of it, but I fucking love this shit. And I would like, I want to make music that sounds like this too. Like that's what happens. And it's not like I'm trying to copy his style, because honestly, I feel like I grew up on the OGs he references in FFS freestyle, right? Like I was listening to a lot of people. So to me, it's not like a new style at all. To me, what Scarlxrd is doing is reviving one of my favorite genres. Like it's been a dream of mine forever to make fusions between hip hop and emo. Like those are some of my favorite things put together. And it's not the first time I've said that. You can check out my Travis Barker's Suicide Boys review and you'll see I hyped it up the same way. Basically anything Travis Barker's been on. Yellow Wolf Punk was another track I felt like that on. I just love it, man. I've been a huge fan of this new metal revival for a long time. So 4.75 on 5. And let's move on to Escape. Just to follow up, if I did make new metal, I really wouldn't cop that vocal style. I would do my own thing. So, like, I get where he's coming from about the originality, as we'll touch on when we get there. But I like Escape's tone, right? Because Concern had a more high energy, like, kind of bounciness to it, whereas Escape is kind of that cooled down, vibey tone. You got more of an openness in the beat. It's, like, airy, and it just kind of lets him ride. So when he sings over it, it has, like, this more hollow, anxious feeling. So Concern, if you think about it, without the lack of concern, you create the moments in your life that lead you to needing to escape. Is kind of the emotional arc I took between these two tracks. So I might try for a little bit, or did I even flip the lyrics up? I might not have. No, I did not. Sorry about that. Yes, I do rely on Genius on my computer screen here. Oh, you could probably see it in my glasses. I got a new monitor that's bright here, and it's been harder to, like, not have it bounce off. I digress. Trying my patience. I've been on the run for some time now. Time has been wasted just trying to sort out my mind now. I remember living this phase of my life. I remember even being 25 and being on the tail end of that phase of my life. I would say that the clarity that I now have only really started to kick in around 26, 27 as I really like focus. So I appreciate these lyrics because it reminds me of the me before this version of me. And I still feel like this sometimes, the way the world pushes me and such. So like in the sense that I mean, I've reached a point of efficiency and emotional understanding where when the moments that would have led to that emotional state come on, I can manage them in a way that doesn't lead me there. I guess you can say I've sorted my mind out and I don't waste as much time. But I remember the process enough to really feel the authenticity in these words because they just resonate in me. Like it connects, and the way he delivers them, I don't know, it's kind of like in the way when you listen to music, you can just kind of tell sometimes that the shit's real or not, right? And maybe it's just a feeling. Maybe he's a great trickster who's tricked me with the right, but I don't believe that. I think with the volume he has to feel like this to put it out. You just can't fake that volume, you know? Like this has to be part of who you are. Anyway, plus the manicness of that work ethic, like you gotta be a little manic. I mean, I have a pretty powerful work ethic. Maybe it's not all towards art, but the day I make enough money to quit my job, dog, I'm gonna be fucking popping off shit like you wouldn't believe, because it's just easier to work through pain in my life. So if I consider myself as a workaholic, in a sense, the work is escape, and so I can really connect with this still, you know? Let me out, escape's never been difficult. I said, let me out, escape's never been difficult, and he repeats that. And I kind of know that feeling too. Escape is pretty easy to find. You can do a lot. It's like, even in the micro, when you do something like one chore instead of another, or if it's in the macro of, I don't know, running away, getting kind of fucked up and hiding from the world for a while, riding on the laurels of last week's success to coast for a time. Like, I'll be honest, sometimes I'll prioritize things in a way where, you know, I did really great week one, and then, you know, all of a sudden I escape for a bit, and maybe people don't notice it as much because I can hide it better, but it's really easy to pull off. Life's not an enemy, lies have been said to me, just try and be a better me, it's all right now. Times I regret to see, times I forget to breathe, times I will lend a fade, it's all fine now. When I heard that, my respect for Scarlxrd went way the fuck up, right? Because that's where you take... So one of the big problems of emo in general, the whole genre of emotional expressiveness, is it's a lot of people in the midst of pain, wallowing in self-pity and egotism, and often not trying to guide people forward. It's just a big ol' circle jerk relate-a-thon, which is nice, but it's not like practical. It's not like leadership shit. It's just connect with me. But when you start saying stuff like life's not an enemy, lies have been said to me, and just kind of show that process of you working past the illusion of life and starting to see that you can within yourself become better and change your perspective. You know, maybe you forget stuff, maybe you regret stuff, whatever, but at the end of the day you reach a place where it's all fine now. That's the difference between like immaturity and grown man shit, in my opinion. It shows me that this dude actually cares about his audience and in a sense is using his art to lift. Whether he did this his whole career or not, I can't say. I'm listening to the 2020 Scarlxrd, of course. Or the second 2020, because he's got more than one fucking project out this year. Holy shit, man. Here I am fucking dropping a song a month and this motherfucker's dropping entire projects. I feel lazy. Anyway, but yeah, so I really, really like that. Then just, you know, trying my patience. I've been on the run for some time now. When that shit comes back in, it kind of adds an extra level to it, because now it's like we know he's actually battling to improve himself and shit. He's trying to be the best man he is, and he's just like struggling with the pressures of that. And it's not just like aimless. And I think the fact that he starts with the negative emotion, follows up with the middle of the positive emotion, going back to the negative, going back to the positive, and ending on the positive note, ending on it's all fine now, is really strong. I really like this song conceptually. Like, I think he does this rock poetry top notch. So 4.5 on 5. I really like it. Let's talk about the FFS Freestyle, which has a music video, so I guess it's been out for a bit. Alright, so I like how on the way these EPs are split up, it's like you get rock track, hip hop. That's kind of cool because this is obviously a little bit more on the hip hop side of the dude's repertoire. I'm gonna assume FFS is for fuck's sake freestyle. I think that's what that means. I'm kind of old, so y'all can let me know if that's been reappropriated to refer to something specific in the comments, and I appreciate all your corrections. I'm still gonna do more of his stuff, so if that's some inside joke I need to know, y'all can let me know. I love his flow and his delivery. Let me just start that off. I love the beat choice. I love everything about this fucking track except for maybe a few of the bars. And I'll get into that because there's just certain things that I don't like, but I also have come to appreciate what this is. This is an arrogant, braggadocious freestyle in the vein of competitive hip-hop, basically him coming at the people copying his style. As I said in our last review, I have no fucking idea who the fuck Scarlxrd clones are, because to me he sounds like nu metal revived, and I've heard a bunch of dudes that kind of sound like him that are older than him. Like, you know, like to me it's a little bit weird, but then I started thinking about it. Obviously Scarlxrd's popping off a little bit. Obviously he has half the bars in Spotify in terms of the trendingness on this little project. That is actually not the simplest thing to do, and a lot of more popping guys aren't. So clearly Scarlxrd's got some fans and some love, but the style he's captured into some shit. Obviously clones is going to exist, but like for me, I'm like, who the fuck is a Scarlxrd clone? I barely knew who Scarlxrd was 2 weeks ago, honestly. But I know y'all are in a different world than me, because y'all listening are probably more in touch, and I do album reviews trying to keep myself in touch so that I don't become an old 40s fogey that can't understand new music. This is my effort to stay in touch. Thank you for joining me on this journey. So right off the jump, man, I like the intro, I like the energy, and his delivery is top-notch. Scarlxrd is one of the best vocalists I think I've covered of the younger cats on this channel. I'm gonna say that flat out. And why am I offering all this praise up front? Because in my experience doing these album reviews, y'all don't like criticism if I can't acknowledge all of the top shit. But when it comes to the man's lyrics, yeah, I don't think he reads books. It would be my short answer to it. I think he's fly as fuck, but like I don't feel the literary component that I would love to make me appreciate these lyrics as super distinct and next level, because stylistically the man's got an aesthetic. But when I get to the bars, living too fast and there's no one above me. I'm sorry, Scarlxrd. There's a 0% chance that you are the fastest living guy out there and that there's nobody above you. I'm sorry. Travis Barker is literally in your lane musically, and he's above everyone in nu metal, okay? He works with everyone. So you're going to tell me that if Travis Barker makes some track that sounds like yours with the Suicide Boys, he's copying your style? I mean, no. Let me cut myself off. But Holden, let's go ahead in the song. You look trash out the gate. I'm humbled anyways. I didn't invent the game, so many G's before me. Yeah. But he said there's no one above him. I fucking can't stand when rappers say factually inaccurate shit just to be hyperbolically cool. You don't have to. You can say I'm one of the best in my lanes, y'all copy me. And the whole song is then factually accurate. Scarlxrd is one of the most impressive dudes in this genre of revived nu metal emo rap I've come across. Is he the fastest living, fastest rap, fastest what? Like in what context is Scarlxrd having nobody above him? See, that's the lie. So that means the whole track's first freestyle line isn't fucking accurate, and it just bothers me. I know I'm not supposed to think that shit. I know you're supposed to just listen to the airy fucking flows, but yo, if you're gonna write bars, and in the other one that like hit me was I can't remember the name of it, the fourth track on the last EP, where he's like, nobody's writing better than me, or like his rhymes are the best, and I'm like, if you're gonna make claims like that, dog, you have no idea how many deep lyrics I consume a fucking week, alright? Go look at the channel's catalog of what we reviewed. You're up against everything now when you're saying shit like that. So I'm sorry that those lyrics that Scarlxrd has put out is not true. I look in the mirror, I'm seeing I'm lucky. Copy paste that shit. I guarantee you other rappers have said it verbatim before Scarlxrd. Now is Scarlxrd copying those guys? Because you could start making these claims. And that's the problem I have with the framing and the attitude on this track. That's why I did all the delivery stuff. Because, yo, the song's a 4.5 on 5. I love this track. I will listen to this song again. But I'm here to review it and give you my thoughts and opinions on every element of it. And I have to tell you why it's not a 5. And it really is. I want I like, some part of me would love to talk to Scarlxrd. Because, yo, I think this guy could become one of the legendariest fucking names people talk about for ages. And as the man gets older, I would like to see him transition into a more leadership bars role with some more, well, less generic bars, because, yo, the bars are generic. Won't trigger the fear, bro. I can barely trust me. I feel like a hero, man. No one can touch me. Eyes on a prize. I got no other thoughts. I try to line, but I'm running across. Whenever pull up or get to the bar, just like Nike, just do it. I run like a star. All of this is inherently adequate. That's the problem with the bar quality. It's all adequate. The flow is ridiculous, though. The fucking delivery is fucking ridiculous. I love listening to this man say these words. But then I think about the words and I'm like, okay, they're fine. I've been thinking about days when I cover my tracks, feeling fantastic, cop some new fabric, will I rock classic? Like, literally nothing about that is distinct to anything. I don't know how we can capture the emotional shit so fucking good on the rock side and really tap into brevity in a way where with so few words he can communicate strong emotions via his vocal delivery. And here we get the same level of emotional expressiveness, but when we break it down to the words, the only bars I thought were really fun were one shot snap of mostly all plastic, I'm a wreck havoc. Again, nothing original there, but got a new gadget, go panic. Yeah, I don't lap that race. I want it, I have to have it, pray like a cat flick. I'm on an outlandish pace. I like that part because, I mean, while again the most of that's not original, like I've heard 1,000 go gadget gun bars because in the music video he puts up the gun fingers or whatever. I've heard the plastic accusations, wreck havoc. I mean, literally Havoc's a great producer, so like none of that's original, but it sounds great when he says it. But when he goes, I got the crazy pace, I'm like, yeah, that bar works because you really fucking do have that pace. All right, this shit's got back up. Yeah, this shit got my stats up. Fair enough, you got good stats, I'm giving you this now. So when he goes in that realm, where he's talking about shit where empirically you can back it up, cool. But volume doesn't make you a good lyricist. Often volume makes you a worse lyricist, because the truth is, how the fuck, it's like, you can see it like this, man. This is my Family Guy theory. Family Guy's pretty fresh till about season 5, and this is my opinion as an old guy from back, because keep in mind, I was young when Family Guy started. Like, I was like 18 and shit when that shit was like new, and well, it got its like revival. It got like renewed by Fox when I was 18, and then they released it for all the stoners to watch on DVD. So I remember the early Family Guy. Then I remember New Family Guy. Then I remember the Family Guy with American Dad. Then I remembered watered down Family Guy with American Dad in Cleveland show. And the more and more Seth MacFarlane did, it felt like the less and less focused and good any of his products were. So the downside of popping off as much music is it's likely your bars are not going to come off distinct, because it sounds a lot like he's freestyling a lot of this shit, which is amazing. On that lane, it's so amazing. But when I analyze it, like, practically, whatever, it's fine. I mean, it's not, like, distinct enough that, like, you can make claims like people are jacking your lyrics. You can talk all you want about styles and aesthetics, but again, by his own admission in this track, he didn't actually invent any of it. So coincidentally, a lot of people can end up at that point. Therefore, Scarlxrd is just really good at other people's stuff and shouldn't try to claim ownership. Like, I don't know. This whole, like, philosophically, this track felt, like, kind of weird. I'm ever so flattered you copy me. Again, I don't know. Y'all can point me at Scarlxrd clones, but, like, this just feels like other music I've heard. Again, that's just where I'm at with it. So I'm not 1,000% into aimless flossy hip hop. Like, to me, like, there is a lot of need for inventive creativity in the bars when you're being braggadocious, because when you make a track like this, everyone makes tracks like this. Like, I've been saying this for a bit now. I want to find a coder that will work with me to comb the internet, and we make an app where I can go, how generic is your bar? And I throw it in that app, and it just pulls back all the other times people have said exactly what you said. And I'm sorry, but, like, it's impossible for me to believe copy my look like a cosplay is original. You know? Scars drawn on with a Sharpie. That's not yours. That's Scarlxrd. I'm like, okay. I mean, yes, your name's Scarlxrd, but I bet even without that, somebody has just made that pun because it's a cool pun. Like, that's the problem here, is I'm not feeling like I'm feeling with the more rock side, where it's like, holy shit, dude is tapping into an emotional that I can feel on. This feels like a freestyle that anybody could have did, but because of his delivery, it's fresh. Like, don't get me wrong. When he's at the part where he's like, I'm a monster, I'm a fucking monster, blah, 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 hey, watch your back, I want it, oh God, I got it. That whole part there, it's fucking great, man. All of that's dope. The delivery is dope. The beat's dope. Again, I'm gonna listen to this again. But I kind of wish the bars were better for the attitude of him claiming to be top dog like that. Because I think that shit puts off people. Because, like, if I'm sitting here loving the style but still being kind of bothered by it, just imagine people who don't even love the style. Like, it's just not true. People shouldn't, in my opinion, make claims like they're GOAT. You just can't say that. All time hasn't happened yet. That's right. GOAT is greatest of all time. Has all time happened yet? No. How could you be the GOAT? Thank you. Anyway, I know y'all probably found me a bit of an old man stickler on this one, and I'm going to keep going through his stuff because, I really enjoy listening to this, but I got to just be true to form. Stylistically, I'd recommend this to fucking so many people. But I'd have to give the caveat that it's not the best poetry in the rap side of it. However, I've listened to 3 of his rap songs, so I don't know across the spectrum. I'm judging on what I heard here, and based on that, I still want to hear more. So take that all with a grain of salt, understanding that I actually really like this. I'm just, you know what, you got it. You've heard me say it a bunch. So I love this project. This little snapshot so far, I gave this little chunk a 4.58, so collectively we are still riding in modern classic land in my opinion. This project is worth listening to. It makes me want to hear his other stuff to see how I feel, but there's something about the way he puts this together that's just real fresh and dope for me. Captures emotion really well. His vocal delivery is astounding. Y'all know what I felt about the rap bars. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like the video if you did. Dislike it if you didn't. And special thanks to the patrons Ismail Kadamsi, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, Linda Williams, DJ Black Hurricane, Scribble, and Carl. They're dope. Support what we do. Help us get to new levels. And if you like this, you can support us like that. I think I forgot to say subscribe to the channel, so you can do that too. It's helpful, but I'm not into vain metrics. So if you want to watch us and learn more, that's dope. I make music myself, so you can see that I at least can rap. So it's not like I'm coming at this from a position of I don't know a thing about a thing. You might not like me. I don't sound like Scarlxrd, but I can bust some shit if you need me to. Anyway, thank y'all for being here with me. I'm looking forward to doing the spring part. Live long and prosper, everyone.